Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of Making Sense of Your Markets. Today is Saturday, it's June 5th, 2021. It's early, I don't know if you can see the bags under my eyes. Early Saturday morning. I'm the only car in the parking lot over here. My truck with my daughter in it because we're getting ready to go out and have breakfast and coffee this morning before we get the weekend rocking and rolling. But I wanted to come in real quick and make this video because week 7, this is one of the most impactful weeks of this whole entire book. And I'm so excited to share this with you. So remember, we're still on habit number 1 of the 7 habits of highly effective people. We're on week 7 of 52. But habit number 1 is be proactive. And this week, why I'm so pumped up is this is speaking proactively. Speak proactively. What I mean by that is something that I've been working on with my kids, myself, some of my employees, and this is so important. You have to understand that I'm not speaking to you today from a podium. I'm speaking to you, learning with you, down in the trenches. I may just be one step ahead of you, and that's it. And so when I'm saying that we need to speak more proactively, we need to choose our words better, like I get to versus I have to, I can versus I cannot, I choose to. I'm practicing these too and teaching these to my kids. And it's funny, we were driving here today and Allie and I were talking about what I'm talking about today on today's episode. And she's like, Dad, these are things that we're already doing, that we're practicing at home. And I was like, bingo. And it's just so important that if we can control our thoughts, if we can control our words, those will control our decisions and ultimately control our actions. And it's just so great. And I want to transition out of this. My old mentor, Zig Ziglar, one of the top motivational speakers of all time, he said, motivation and inspiration is not permanent. You don't just learn it one time and you're ultimately happy and motivational and living a fulfilled life. It's something that you have to practice every single day, just like bathing. You don't just bathe once and you're clean for life. You bathe every single day. And this is so relevant to speaking proactively. So it's something that we have to work on every single day. Your homework today we'll talk about in a few minutes, but it's just choosing better words, choosing better sentence starters. But real quick, before we wrap up with speaking proactively, let's talk about rates and let's talk about the win for the week. And you're not going to want to miss either of those. So rates are up just a little week over week, not a lot. We're still 30-year fixed rates, 2.875 to 3%. Depending on your equity or down payment or credit score and type of property, 15-year fixed rates still in the low 2s. So an incredible time to evaluate your mortgage situation if you're a homeowner. If you missed the opportunity last year to refinance your home, still a great time to look at saving money on your mortgage. I'd love to be a resource for you. This is what I actually do for a living, is mortgages, and we do it really well. Speaking of doing mortgages really well, I want to share this with you. This is the win of the week. So I have a client, Greg and Cindy. I can remember the second that Greg called me. I was boarding an airplane to head down to Napa to celebrate my 17th wedding anniversary 2 months ago with my wife. And he called and he said, listen, I'm having a horrible experience with lenders. This is a long shot, but I got your number and I want to see if you can help me. I'm self-employed, blah, 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 blah. And all he had to say was self-employed, and I knew his problem. But lenders were telling him no and not helping with a solution. And then they weren't calling him back. And he just said, shoot straight with me, Dan. And I did. And 2 months later, my team and I helped them close their mortgage transaction. I love what they said right here in this review. Since both Cindy and I are self-employed, assembling our borrowing capacity is always challenging, and other lenders and brokers just don't know how to deal with it. Not so with you guys. So thank you for the kind review. Cindy, Greg, thank you for your business. Let's wrap up with the 7 habits of highly effective people, and this is speaking proactively. I want to read you this quote from Stephen R. Covey. It says, I am not the product of my circumstances. I am the product of my decisions. So I said this earlier, your thoughts formulate your decisions. So if we can control our thoughts, control our words, we can control our decisions. It's that simple. And I'm trying to teach my kids this. And hopefully, if I keep pounding it into them, they'll get it. But again, your homework this week, consider the sentence starters, I get to versus I have to. I choose to versus being more negative in that thought. And then lastly, I can versus I cannot. This goes back to the circle of influence, you guys. The circle of influence are things that we can control, like our attitude and our enthusiasm and our habits and our education and our skills. So remember, you can choose to have a great attitude. You get to versus have to. you can control these thoughts, and these thoughts will control your actions and your destiny. I hope this information was helpful. Have a great week. And if you have any questions regarding this information or a mortgage, please reach out to me. And if you found this valuable, I believe this information can change the world. If you found it valuable, share it with someone that it might inspire or help, okay? Bye for now. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.